Well, I believe in starting things on time, so let's get things going here. Welcome, everybody. Thank you so much for being here. We're glad to have you here. Thanks for coming on a busy Sunday night. It's I think lots going on this weekend, but we're very glad you decided to come spend some time with us. I want to start by acknowledging that the University of Manitoba is on traditional territory of the Dakota, Dene, the Cree, Oji-Cree, Anishinaabe, and peoples, and on the homeland of the Métis Nation. I wondered if I was going to have that all memorized. I think I got it. We're very honored to be on these traditional lands and looking forward to continuing in the work of truth and reconciliation. We are going to get started tonight for the trio for cajones. I'm going to just read you a little bit of what the composer has written about this piece, if my phone will wake up. The composer writes, Rancho Jubilee is the name of a Dominican restaurant on my corner in Washington Heights. Its fun decor and lively atmosphere with Latin and Caribbean influences provides a nice setting for this, what is likely the first of its kind trio of cajones. The cajon is a Spanish word meaning box. The instrument originated in Peru and later became popular in Spanish flamenco music. There are wire strings extending across the cajon, giving it a fantastic sound, kind of like a drum set with a snare, go ahead Wyatt, and a bass. In the piece itself, the composer's taken several key rhythmic motives and spread them over a variety of contexts, as well as using basic rudiments that we would use in our snare drum playing, such as paradiddles, double paradiddles, and paradiddle diddles. Not the same thing. And juxtapose them into syncopated rhythms through the piece. Besides these standard techniques, the different timbre ideas include knocking on the cajon's sides with the knuckles, knocking on the side with the heel of the foot, brushing the surface of the cajon with the finger and nails, brushing the performer's legs, a fist pound directly in the center of the cajon, and I think that's all of them. And a little bit of the spider move. I like that one. Logan's good at that one. The spider. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. The last day writing this piece was spent at this restaurant, Rancho Jubilee, and the composer was pleased to pay tribute to the restaurant, which continues to be a consistent sanctuary for his composing and orchestrating. So this is a great trio kind of showing off all the many techniques of the cajon, and this is Logan Cashin, Aaron Witzke, and Wyatt King. No. Wyatt King, yes. I get their names wrong a lot. Take it away, guys. Thank you so much, guys. Way to go. All right. Those can come back, actually. Good. All right. The next piece that we're about to perform, believe it or not, was composed in Vienna, and it was completed on the 10th of August, 1787. This is a thing I don't get to say very often at a percussion ensemble concert. Most of the pieces that we write are a lot newer than that. This is obviously an arrangement and has been reworked for percussion ensemble. The musicologist Wolfgang Hildesheimer noted that this is one of the serenades that Mozart wrote on commission, and suggests that the first performance was not recorded. We only know the date the score was completed. The traditionally used name of the work comes from an entry Mozart made in his personal catalog, which begins Eine kleine Nachtmusik. Likely Mozart was not giving the piece a special title, but just indicating in his records that he had completed this little serenade. But the title has stuck, and it's how we know it. Maybe one of the most famous pieces in the classical repertoire. I often like to joke that composers like Mozart and Bach and Tchaikovsky would have loved writing for the percussion instruments that we have here today if they'd ever had a chance to hear them. I think that they would have enjoyed it. This little serenade is one of the most popular works, and Hildesheimer writes, "Even if we hear it on every street corner, its high quality is undisputed. It is from a light but happy pen." I don't know if Mozart would have approved of this cute little arrangement, but I think it might be just a little bit too ridiculous for the royal court in Salzburg, but we think you might be charmed by its silliness as much as we are. So without further ado, this is Eine kleine Boomwhackers. So what do you think? Would Mozart have approved? Thank you. Bring this guy. All the chairs up. And this one. We're going to move on now. This concert is themed around the idea of stories, and the idea that music is often a part of the stories, is often a way that we inspire a story, and is often a way that we associate with a story. So we think of certain songs that kind of immediately take us to a certain place or a time or a movie or something. And the next piece that we're going to play should take you to a place. It's a trio from Mexico that is written in the traditional style of a Mexican marimba music, which is a very popular style of music in all through Mexico and Central America. The players play a lot out in public settings and all kinds of community ensembles, and they cram lots of players onto these big instruments. So this is a trio for 3 players on one marimba. And so they get into nice close quarters, covering the bass part, the second part, and the top melody line. So this one is from the region of Tapachula, or as it's called in the score, Tapachol. I'm hoping I'm pronouncing that properly. So it's a traditional melody from that region, and it will be played by Aaron and Logan and Sage. And hopefully we won't have any crashes. Literally. Everybody gets a little cozy. So when you guys are ready, oh, wrong pink sticks. So this is the Tapachol. All right, next we're going to move. Oh, can you guys take that marimba with you? Thank you. We're going to move to the United States of America. One of the most kind of famous styles of music that's come from the United States is march, and the traditional kind of drum line and marching music of bass drum, snare drums, and cymbals is kind of iconically connected to that culture. So this is a great little trio for bass drum, cymbals, and snare drum, written by an American composer named David Eiler, who teaches in Concordia University in Fargo-Moorhead. And really kind of a fun, catchy little tune featuring Sage, John Michael, and Ellie. And we think that you'll enjoy it. This is David Eiler's March Time. All right. The next piece on our program is one of the kind of the anchor pieces of a program when you're kind of coming up with things to play. You usually kind of come up with 2 or 3 pieces and build a program around these, and this is one of the anchors for us. Music that tells stories is always connected to any kind of theater or drama, and in the music world it always seems to involve the opera and the ballet. The music of the Nutcracker it just is so iconically well known that you hear this music and you almost think of the sounds of the Nutcracker even before the dancing. It's so connected. We are going to play 5 movements from the Nutcracker Suite. They were originally arranged for a guitar quartet, and we have rearranged that arrangement for a percussion sextet. So this is an arrangement of an arrangement down in the vortex here of things. In the guitar quartet, there was quite a lot of different techniques used to kind of emulate the sounds of the string orchestra, and we are kind of doing the same thing, emulating the sounds of the string orchestra, and sometimes the sounds of the guitars emulating the string orchestra. So it's quite a lot of really fun colors and sounds and ideas. We're going to see them playing with different parts of the sticks, playing with their farther up on the nodes of the bars, which generally is a faux pas. We don't play on the nodes of the bars. Maybe Aaron Jerson's there. Can you play us in the center of the bars? On the center of the bars? And then on the nodes? So it's quite a thin, kind of eerie kind of sound. So in the Arabian dance, you'll hear that kind of more of that tone color, and a few other little sound effects along the way to kind of show off the different colors of this work. Just in case anybody doesn't remember the story, we're going to come in near the second half. The march is kind of the grandiose entrance of all the characters, and then we have Clara and the Nutcracker, after their victorious battle with the Mouse King, heading off to their journey through the snow forest. They arrive in the land of sweets. Upon their arrival, they are greeted by the Sugar Plum Fairy, and then they throw a lavish party in their honor. So some of the movements that we're going to do are some of the various guests at the party. We have the dance of the reed flutes. We have the Merliton there, the Russian dolls, and the Arabian dance is the three that we're going to do, and then we're going to finish it up with the big famous Trepak, the Russian dance. I think I got it all. Are we all ready to go? I get a little rambly. Sorry. Please enjoy Tchaikovsky's Nutcracker, 5 movements. Well, we hope that puts you in the holiday mood now that Halloween is over. But before it gets too cold, we're going to take you back to Mexico for one more trio, this one from the region of Coatán. This is going to feature the other three members of our sextet here. This is going to have Wyatt and Jen Michael and Ellie on this, the Air de Coatán, so another traditional marimba piece from Mexico. out of here. Get that marimba out of here. We're going to shift things around and kind of draw your attention to this corner of the room for the piece that is the main inspiration for this concert. This is a piece that we went to a conference last year, most of the studio, called PASIC, the Percussive Arts Society International Conference, and we all heard, stop dropping your sticks, Wyatt. We all heard this piece, and we all kind of looked at each other and went, we want to do that piece. It's a piece for a percussion quartet with a narrator telling a story. So it's a children's story about a little star, and she goes off and finds all this junk in space, and she does some wonderful things with it. And I don't want to give the story away. So we're going to feature 4 players, as well as one of our players as our narrator, Sage, telling you a nice story. It's got some lullaby moments, and then a few kind of rock and roll moments. So I think it's a pretty cool story about a pretty cool little star. And we hope you enjoy Ivan Trevino's Space Junk.
The stars are jumping tonight. Their smiles are big and bright and light up the sky. But in one corner of the sky, there is one little star who is stuck. She is not jumping and not smiling and not shining. She is alone by herself, away from the other stars, and she can't move. She is covered in space junk. The other stars have made a mess, and their space junk has covered up the little star. Floating her far away from everyone else. She jumps, shakes, and wiggles her way out of the space junk. And instead of leaving it to float back into space, she decides to do something else instead. She starts to make things with her space junk. Like cool clothes. And bright jewelry. And even musical instruments. She releases her creations into the sky and watches them float towards the other stars. They try on her cool clothes and bright jewelry. And start to make beautiful music with her instruments. The other stars realize how special their space junk can be. And how special their little star can be too. The little star is happy now. She floats back home, jumping and smiling and shining and singing too.
We have one more tune for you. It's one of those ones that Again, kind of like the ballet music, when you hear it, you know exactly what we're talking about. It's in your program, it doesn't need a lot of introduction. We just thought we'd leave you something stuck in your ear for the rest of the evening, so you're welcome for that. And we'll just get ourselves a little bit rearranged here and get going with the Pirates of the Caribbean. I knew there was something else I was going to talk about, and I wrote it down, and then I forgot about it. I got some thank yous. Thank you all for being here. Thank you for coming. It really means a lot. Can we have one more round of applause for all these musicians? They've worked really hard tonight. Thank you so much. They're amazing. Thank you very much to our AV team for making all of this happen. There's a crew of 4 people working around here with cameras and lights and all kinds of things, making us feel real fancy. So it's real exciting. This is our first time live streaming this event. So for all of those at home, welcome. Thank you much for coming, for joining us. And for those of you who have enjoyed this so much, you can now go home and watch it on YouTube again later on. So that's pretty exciting. We are performing again this Thursday at the Winnipeg Public Library in the Carol Shields Auditorium for their Library Noon Hour series. We're doing a program called Mostly Marimba for solos, trios, and things for mostly marimba, but we're also going to jam a little vibraphone in there because crazy not to. So if you haven't had enough of us, come on Thursday at noon for that free concert and come join us for that. I think I got them all. That's all my thank yous. Thanks for being here. It's been a pleasure, and hopefully you'll enjoy this raucous good time. We're good?